I'm ready to rock and roll. Just ready to get out there and chomp at the bit.
Kyle Busch, after so many years of impressing us with his abilities on the track as far as winning races, he was finally able to capitalize in his 11th season when he was able to get his title, his very first title back in 2015. Kyle Busch, such a talented race car driver, but so many questioned if he could put it all together to win the championship, because so many times we saw Kyle, he would erupt after finishing second or third or fourth because he thought he had a winning car but wasn't able to complete the deal, get the win. And I think he got his emotions in check. He matured quite a bit as a race car driver, and that put him in a great position to win his first ever title, which took place last year.
He's still only 31 years old, so he has a lot of racing ahead of him. But, the strength of this race team, I believe, and as this race boils down on Sunday, if you get a late race restart, you put Kyle Busch in that position where he's third, fourth, fifth, and you got to pick up spots. I don't think there's anyone better in the series about trying to find a way to take a fifth place car and get a second or a first with it. And I think that's their strength. I think if they can stay in the game, they just keep themselves in position to win, get that late race restart and turn it over to Kyle Busch, I think that's an advantage to that team.
And remember, Joe Gibbs Racing has two cars in the championship four, both the 18 of Kyle Busch and the 19 of Carl Edwards. Let's flash back to Richmond. Earlier this year, Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch racing for the win, looking to get a win at Richmond. And we saw what Carl Edwards would do to even a teammate to get that win. He would move a teammate out of the way. Carl Edwards goes on to celebrate the win. Kyle Busch very dejected after the end of that race because he thought he was wrong. He was moved out of the way for the win. So a frustrating situation for Kyle Busch, but obviously Carl Edwards, he thought differently of it.
Final lap. Carl's leading. You're in second. What's the etiquette, Kyle?
I kind of sealed that earlier in the year when I bumped him out of the way. So, well, I know the answer to that.
That's why I thought I'd return the favor here, Kyle.
Let's just put it this way. I hope I'm close enough. Yeah.
And it was lighthearted, but obviously that's a situation that they know how they're going to race each other. It was established earlier this year that they will move a teammate out of the way for a win, and especially in a situation like this where it could be for the championship.
You race people the way they race you, and that's what you have to do. And I think the championship, listen, we want two drivers. I don't care if they're teammates or not. We want the drivers going at each other, aggressively racing each other. That's what they're supposed to do. When this sport gets about just the team and not individual drivers and individual teams, I think that lessens it. So Carl Edwards at Richmond decided that, hey, listen, I got to win this race for me and my team. I'm faster than the 18, and I'm going to do whatever I got to do, and that's what he did. And that opens the door, though. He made the rules that now he's got to live by.
'88 of Alex Bowman back out on the track, and what a weekend they had last week. Alex Bowman able to go out and get his very first Sprint Cup Series pole. He wins it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. there to congratulate him. And then, what a performance he put on in the race.
Yeah, the last set of pit cycles, the 88 decided to take 4 tires. He had 4 tires in the field, and this is that second last restart that you mentioned. The 88 was protecting, got it here a little deep. Contact with the 20, ended up after the race. He didn't want to be a part of that chase battle, but going for his first ever Sprint Cup win, Jeff. At the same time, he's not going to lay over, and I appreciate the effort. I know it didn't end up like he wanted, but he's got big shoes to fill here, though. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the standard driver, the normal driver for the 88. This is his type of racetrack, right up against the wall. Now, this young man has done a superb job, not just in Phoenix. We've seen a real competitive edge out of this 88, really, for the whole last half of the season. Just seemed like he had no luck. Flat tires, different things that really hampered his efforts.
And I wouldn't say that the performance of this car really has been let down. I think he stepped right in and ran as well, if not a little better than Jeff Gordon ran. Maybe ran a little bit off of what Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s run, but as the year's gone on, he's gotten better and better. So he's done a really, really good job. And going back to last week, what could he have done different?
Right.
I don't know if anything he could have done different. I appreciate him being concerned, and you would hope a young driver racing against Eagleton Chase would be concerned that he was involved in his story. But I don't know what in the world he could have done different in that situation.
And again, what happened there, the 88 and the 20 making the contact, that enabled the 22 to move up and get the lead for the final restart. Now the 22, after being on the track, a little bit of tire rub. Marty, what's happening?
They have now cooled down the car, Rick, and if you'll notice on the left rear tire, they sort of painted those gray and silver marks. That's to try and tell if their tire rub is still there when they go back out. They made some adjustments on that left rear. They've also adjusted the splitter a little bit, trying to make sure the car does not make contact with the racetrack when he goes back out. 11th fastest right now for Joey Logano. And you got to believe a rare sighting here at Homestead, Miami makes them feel a little more pressure on this 22 team. Roger Penske is here on a Friday. That never happens here in the Sprint Cup Series. Now in IndyCar, he's there because he's responsible for Helio Castroneves. His car actually calls the race for Helio Castroneves in practice as well. So he's usually around on practice day in IndyCar, but not here in NASCAR. And I asked Joey about that yesterday. He said, I don't think it adds pressure. It's kind of a cool factor to me that I can win a championship for Roger Penske. But with him around all weekend long and the cachet that he carries with him, it's got to be a little bit of pressure, doesn't it, Jeff? If you're behind the wheel of that race car knowing you're trying to win a championship for that man, this 50th anniversary of Team Penske.
Yeah, Marty, I think it really depends on the relationship. I think if Joey and Roger's relationship is casual and relaxed and they have, just fun conversations, or if it's all business. If it's all business, then yes, I think it does add a little bit of pressure. But if their relationship is easier and more fun, then I think it's just great to have him here. I think, knowing Roger, he's pretty easy to get along with. He's, pretty low-key guy, very demanding when it comes to the racing. He has an expectation of excellence, but at the same time, he seems very supportive, and I don't know. I don't know as a driver. I don't know that it would make a difference for me. I think there's so much pressure on you already internally. I just never believe external pressure really mattered. To me, it's how a person feels the pressure internally. The things outside, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's more about what you think and what you feel than what other people do.
I had mentioned earlier about the maturity of Kyle Busch and winning a championship. If you think back 2 years when Joey Logano was in the championship 4 and running great at the end of the race, they came onto pit road after Joey had put together a very good performance, and this incident right here, slipping off the jack, put Joey Logano behind in a hole, never was able to recover. And Penske's never won here at Homestead. This is a racetrack that they want to get a win. But more importantly, Joey Logano learned a valuable lesson there. And at the end of that race, he didn't blame the team. He said, you know what, this is a team sport. It wasn't just the pit crew, it was everybody involved. He learned from it, and I think he's in a position where he could win a championship because of the way he has raced over the past 2 years since losing that championship.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff and I have talked about these championship 4, and it's hard to pick a favorite because they all have a great storyline, not only what it would mean for them to win a championship, but the story of how they got here. And Joey Logano's story really goes back 2 years for that bad pit stop last year, the incidents between him and Matt Kenseth, that Joey now has come out and said, maybe I didn't handle right off the racetrack. I think he supports what he did on the racetrack, right, but not a phone call off the racetrack. So there is neither one of these 4 drivers that would shock me to be in victory lane. Every one of them has proven they can go to victory lane on this style track with this tire. Every crew chief makes a good decision. You see Todd Gordon right there just double checking that tire rub. So this is definitely a different Joey Logano than we saw 2 years ago.
And they're going to pull the 22 back, put him out on the car, or out on the racetrack once again, see if that tire rub is gone. As you look at the championship 4 and where they sit in this practice here at Miami.